We're going to talk about the quadratic formula. The formula is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Our example equations y equals x squared plus 2x plus 1. To identify the a, it's going to be 1 right here, positive 2, and c is going to be positive 1. A equals 1, b equals 2, c equals 1. The formula for the axis of symmetry is negative b over 2a. Plug in b, negative 2 over 2 times a is 1. You're left with negative 2 divided by 2, which equals negative 1. And that's your axis of symmetry. So you go axis of symmetry. X equals negative 1. You should probably plot that down on your graph. At negative 1, this is where your parabola reflects across itself. So take that x and plug it back into the original equation to find y. So y equals negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 plus 1. Negative 1 squared is 1 minus 2 plus 1. Order of operations is just left to right. Negative 1 plus 1. Y equals 0. So now you have your vertex is going to be negative 1, comma 0. So move over to your graph and let's make a dot for the vertex at negative 1, comma 0. And since A is positive, we know that's going to open upwards. We're going to pick either 2 points to the, or 3 points to the left or 3 points to the right and reflect it across the x-axis. So here let's pick 0, negative 1, no, 0, 1, and 2. So here's x at 0. You plug it in, you're just going to get 1 for y. So at 0, we'll put 1 and reflect it across. It's 1 square away from the axis of symmetry, so we'll go 1 square away from that. At 1, just plug it back in. 1 squared plus 2 plus 1. So 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. So at 1, comma 4, make a dot. That's 2 away from the axis of symmetry, 2 away again. For the next point, we're going to plug in 2. So 2 squared is 4, plus 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1. 4 plus 4 is 8, 8 plus 1 is 9. So at 2, plot 9, it's 3 away, 1, 2, 3. And then connect the dots for your parabola. Wherever this crosses the x-axis are the solutions, so you can see that x is supposed to equal 1. But if you don't graph it, you can factor to solve for x. So going back to this, you're just going what times what is 1, the c term, but added together is the b term, positive 2. And in this case, it's going to be 1 times 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So your factors are going to be x plus 1 times x plus 1 equals 0. Set each factor equal to 0. X plus 1 equals 0. X plus 1 equals 0. Solve for x. Subtract 1 from both sides. So you're left with x equals negative 1 and x equals negative 1. So your solution is just x equals negative 1 with a multiplicity of 2. And you can see that that is your solution right there.
We're recording.
So the vertex form is y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. And completing the square is, if something's in standard form, you have y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. You just take the b, divide it by 2, square it, and then add it to both sides of the equation. So our example problem is going to be 3x squared minus 12x plus 1 equals 0, and we need to put that into vertex form by completing the square. So first, we need to move the negative 1 to the other side. And that leaves us with 3x squared minus 12x equals negative 1. Take out the greatest common factor here. So we have 3 times x squared minus 4x plus blank close parentheses equals negative 1 plus 3 times the blank. And the blank is going to be our completing the square. So let's take this negative 4 because that's the b. Negative 4 divided by 2 squared, that equals negative 2 squared, which equals 4. So now I'm putting 4 into both blanks, because whatever you do to one side of the equation, you do to both sides. So now this is a perfect square. You go x squared minus 4x plus 4. What times what is 4, but added together is negative 4. That's going to be this number right here, negative 2. So we'll go 3 times x minus 2 squared equals negative 1 plus 12. We're going to simplify the right side of the equation. That's going to be positive 11. And just copy down the rest over here. It's starting to look like the vertex form. You have a times x minus h squared. And then if you subtract 11 from both sides, you'll have it in vertex form. Y, or 3 times x minus 2. So in moving the negative 11 over to this side, we have